We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Before we sit down and figure out what all this is, we're gonna go get coffee.
I don't know anything about being a doctor, but I do know that I had a similar experience as a professional violinist in training through 2 music degrees and in performance. And I really loved playing in orchestra, and I loved playing chamber music. I loved being with the people. I loved the rehearsals. I was never late to rehearsal. I was always, early on time, ready to go, sitting in my chair, waiting for the conductor to lead, and being inside of all that massive sound was so incredible to me. And it never occurred to me, because I was also miserable overall during most of that time. And it never occurred to me until later that I didn't even think to ask, what does a professional musician do most of the time on a day-to-day basis? And the answer is practice alone in a 3x5 room with a piano, and hit the note on the piano and work on your tuning and do it again and again and again and again. I didn't even think about that. And I look back on that now and I go, oh, right, because I love being with people. I liked the group dynamic. I liked the experience of the rehearsal. But the 5 to 7 hours a day that I was supposed to be practicing, that for me was more like 2 to 4 hours a day, because I thought I was going to lose my mind alone in a practice room. That's where it really happens. If you don't like being alone, then being a professional classical musician is maybe not the greatest idea.
Yeah.
If I don't hate being alone. I actually enjoy being alone now. But in my work, that's not where the magic happens for me.
I'm a saxophone player, and Charlie Parker, famous saxophone player, jazz musician, and he practiced 13 hours a day, but he had cocaine. He did a lot of cocaine.
And coffee does not come close.
Yeah, not so much.
So I'm told.
But as you say, like, what does the dream actually look like in a day-to-day? I think people get these snapshots they see a professional musician on stage, just this glorious moment, and they forget the preparation that went into it. But then I hadn't even thought of, the day-to-day. And when I look at sort of my dream life now of being able to make and edit videos, I've always enjoyed the editing process, and even taking someone else's footage, because editing is where you get to tell the story and you decide what are the pieces that are going to appeal to people and how best to sequence them. And so knowing that anything I shoot, usually for every hour that I shoot, there's 2 to 3 hours of editing that comes with that. And so when you talk about, when I've made these videos that my friends have said, are awesome, of me water skiing or snowboarding or stuff like that, and they're like, oh, that'd be so cool to just travel the world making videos and stuff. And it's yeah, that experience took a day, took half a day,
right.
And then it took me a week to edit it, to find music, to put it together. And so if you don't enjoy that part of it and you're not committed to creating something that's beautiful and enjoyable for both you and your fans, then it's not worth it. And so yeah, music's the same way, where if you want to be famous but you don't want to, and it's not even the cliche of you got to put in the work, you got to enjoy putting in the work.
Right.
And if you don't, then you should probably switch what you're doing.
I totally agree. I think the most important thing is that you really give people an idea of what the ups and the downs, or I don't even know what to call it, the ins and the outs, or the reality versus the glamorous part, whatever that is. Every job, every career is going to have that. People talk about, oh, it's so great, you own business and you get to travel the world and you get all these great tax deductions, and okay, yeah, that's true. And I'm, as a small business owner, I'm also sitting there reconciling my accounting and looking at my books and making sure that all the money is there, and do I have the cash to make payroll this month, and
yeah,
and are your customers actually paying you when you ask them to pay you, and are you paying the people that you promised to pay? And there's nothing glamorous about 80% of what I do in running businesses, but at the same time I like most of it. I love a lot of it, and I like most of it. And the stuff I really, really can't stand is like, okay, it's not that much.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it this far.
Could somebody start a new routine where they start working out and they start eating healthy, but not really transform?
Correct. And it usually, especially in lifestyle habits, in my experience and observations, in lifestyle habits, it does not last. It can't last very long. You know, people, it's very difficult to stay motivated when you have an extrinsic motivator or lifestyle or elements that you've got in place. You know, then it becomes a diet. Mm-hmm. It's not a lifestyle change. It's a diet that's going to be over soon. Or, you know, you run out of gas. You get, you know, I can't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and train anymore. You know, I don't train early. I train at 6:37 in the morning usually, which is not early for people who get up at 4
right.
and hit the gym by 5. I get it. But for me, that's way early compared to where I was 5 years. Well, first of all, 5 years ago, I wasn't exercising at all. And if I did, it was, 10:30, 11, whatever. What's the best time to train? The time that you'll do it.
So with all this and with the fact that you can make a change, but it's not really a transformation if you're just changing your behavior without changing the habits of motivation, where do you feel that the phrase fake it till you make it fits in?
Yeah, it's an awesome phrase. And what I don't like about that phrase is, okay, fake it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds inauthentic. Mm-hmm. Because it's faking it. The way I use that phrase, I say, if I'm afraid, I say, okay, I'm just going to do it afraid. That to me is authentic. I acknowledge I'm afraid to do this right now. I'm very nervous, and I'm going to do it afraid because I've already committed to doing it.
So it's not really faking it.
It's not really faking it at all.
Knowing that each thing is going to be better, knowing that each thing is a step forward, and I can look back and say, instead of saying, wow, I spent this past year really figuring out how to make a good video and I've thought a lot about it. Instead, I can look back and say, look at all these videos I've made. Some have been great. Some have been abysmal. Mm-hmm. But I can tell you from every single video, at least one thing that I've learned how to do better. And I can tell you right now that when I post this video, I'm gonna have problems with it. And it's not gonna be perfect. But I know that I'm gonna need to post it anyway so that I can make the next one and the next one. And then you and I, when we sit down again in a few months and do the same thing, we're gonna laugh at like, oh my God, the things we were thinking then and the things we were doing then and how far we've come. And knowing that progress is a part of the goal, to me, is the permission I need to move now, to do something now, knowing that it's not gonna be the best thing I'll ever do. But if I don't do it, I'll never do the best thing I'm ever gonna do. Okay,
I know. And here's my boom reaction to that. I discovered recently that if I truly create in the moment the state of being I want to create, and today I intended to create the state of being authentic, as naturally authentic as I could be. If you truly create that state for yourself, you don't really have to worry about the rest. There isn't anything else. And like you said, haters are gonna hate. Haters gonna hate. Yeah, they will. I think that's actually, as much as I don't want to hear that, I have, greasy face and my lipstick is wrong and, why does she sit like a Quasimodo or, whatever, I don't know. Whatever that criticism would be or how stupid, this is boring. At the same time, the people who take the time to make criticisms like that, well, you're doing something. Mm-hmm. And so, the criticism is actually a sign of your success. It's not easy to read or hear about at the same time, but I totally get it, that if you can really keep creating that state of being and being that in the present moment, then the rest of it will work itself out. It doesn't really matter what words come out. It matters the state of being and the intentionality that you have behind it. And the words that come out are the words that come out.
Hopefully my mistakes with exposure and focus make it so that you can't really tell how dirty this hat is.
I think you could probably tell.
Okay.
Can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. You know what I'm saying?
Can't make a snakeskin purse out of a sow's ear.